I don't know what day of nofap I'm on, but I know I'm on a very, very low streak. And I've gained some oxygen because I need to build the streak back up, and the only way to do that is to be out of the house, out of my comfort zone as much as possible. I just can't stay in the house when all I'm going to do is watch PMO and get frustrated with myself. And I've been trying my best to abstain from it. I've got some goals. My studying, my vegetarian diet, getting that in place, and journaling. And sometimes I don't want to journal, so I just I do the bare minimum, 1 page a day. It's like how you have an urge, and you have an urge and you can tell yourself, I'm not going to entertain this urge for 2 minutes. And if you're consistent with it, then the effort sort of accumulates and you can go for longer periods of time. Because it's just altering your neural pathways ever so slightly, but significantly in the long run. And I've gotten this idea from Atomic Habits. So I've got to add in one habit at a time. I can't just rush it all at once. What I used to do is when I was on my nofap streak that lasted for almost 3 months in August last year. What I did was that I started adding in habits. Journaling was first because for me I like writing. I love writing. I can write for ages. I can just write about nothing and everything. And one of the reinforcements for my addiction initially was fan fiction. And I used to go on websites, used to go on, like these obscure chat room type of websites and venting websites, and I used to write about so-and-so getting together and doing you-know-what with so-and-so, and it got ridiculously sus as my addiction progressed, and it started off as something funny like Donald Trump and Mike Pence, and then it just got worse, and I started putting in superhero characters and started doing gay fan fiction and roleplay where I was pretending to be a woman. And it's very easy to fall back into the same patterns of thought. It's very easy to just do the same thing you've done, just on autopilot, like just do it again and again and again and again and again. And you start to feel hopeless, you start to feel stupid, like, how could I do this 1,000 times and have not learnt anything by now? What's wrong with me? And that's what's happened. And with relapsing so frequently over the last month, I've started falling into these patterns of diagnosis. Like, you ignore that it's actually your addiction to PMO that's doing this. you ignore that because you'd rather think that it's something out of your hands, like depression or anxiety or ADHD. And I've been looking up all of these symptoms, and it gets harder to see the bigger picture and to realise that everything is a symptom of PMO. All of it. All of it is a symptom of PMO. It doesn't mean that you're this type of person or that type of person. You don't know your true self until you step away from this addiction. And you should ignore the lies that your porn addicted brain tells you about yourself. Like, you're not intelligent enough, you're not clever enough, you don't know enough. And it's just coercing you back into this cycle of addiction, and it's just your brain on autopilot, like your suffering brain trying to make you act out. And the more you act out, the less in touch with yourself you actually feel. Like, you start feeling as though you're not worth anything. Like, you have no value to the world. You can't portray anything but a caricature of the person you are copying. And I saw something interesting yesterday about how men have been sissified by watching lesbian porn in the lesbian category, where they feel as though they want to watch trans porn, and it's an escalation from watching strap-on lesbians. And without seeing a man in a porno, you have no one to project onto. So they become the ones in the video who are taking it and not giving it. Like, they don't feel as though they're giving anything, and they become naturally submissive in their own lives. And I put two and two together because I was introduced to that category by one of my friends. Before then, because I did it as a social thing as well as something I did alone, it ultimately led to me being alone. But I had a friend, and my friend watched the lesbian category, and he introduced me to it. He showed me a few videos, I got into it, and it didn't really matter that I had no one to project onto on the videos. I just did it because I didn't have anything going on in my life, and I was stressed at the time because I was put under heavy supervision. I was in and out of special classes for having autism, Asperger's, high functioning autism, and it just seemed like an easy way out from all of this. It wasn't, and it was a gateway into harder categories. And in the last month, my porn addiction has been so bad. Like, it's been on the level, even though I haven't been doing it 5 times every single day, it's been on the level that it was when it was at its worst in 2019, 2018, where I discovered the gay categories. but I never really fully engaged with it. And recently I've watched men having it off, having been dominated, like being dressed up as maids and just being humiliated. And fandom is something I've always had a problem with. I've always had a problem with it, and cuckoldry, and it actually ruined my first relationship because I was too submissive, because I wouldn't take action. I didn't want to take action. I didn't want to hurt her feelings. And I was taught all this bullshit by society and by porn, and I could never fulfill the expectations that were put on me, that I put on myself. And this is also where the, oh, I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not clever enough comes from. Like, to watch porn is to believe that you can't get someone. It's to believe in leagues. It's to believe that every single fucking human being is out of your league. Somehow. And it's a limiting belief that we all must overcome. If we want to chase greatness, if we want to chase success, we've got to sacrifice this belief. Because if we don't, it will ruin our lives. And you can't just rush this. You can't just rush this, because I am currently rebuilding everything that I had lost from my PMO habits. In August, I was disciplined. I was working out every single day. I was reading. I was studying. I got through tons of books in my streak. I got through about 13 books in my entire streak, and it wasn't easy. I actually cut down. I started to notice that I was cutting out and cutting down. Beforehand, that I stopped binging. I stopped binging in June, streak in June, streak in July, and then the streak in August that stuck until October. And what happened was that it kind of made it so that my brain had rewired. Like, my brain just automatically it rewired from this, but it wasn't done rewiring. You see, you're constantly improving and overcoming these obstacles, these hurdles in your mind. So when I thought, oh, I can just fap now, it's enjoyable, that's when all of this started. And I can't live in the past. I can't keep saying, oh, I went this many days in the past, so now I can get to it again. I've done it before. I can get to it again. I can get past that. But I need to actually implement the habits. I need to learn to trust and enjoy the process and endure it. I don't even need to enjoy it. I just need to endure the process and stick with it. It's going to be tedious and arduous, and there's going to be times where I feel depressed. There's been several times where I've just felt so depressed that I just gave up, basically. As a withdrawal symptom, between the first 1 to 3 days, I just feel so frustrated and isolated within myself that it's the only way out. Like, when I was being monitored all the time, I didn't have that much of a social life, and I didn't feel as though people respected me. I felt as though I was secretly being judged and being thought of as being a retard and a failure, a useless fuck up, and all you can do is take it one step at a time.